Hello everyone, welcome to the Buddhi Academy. In today's video, let us continue with the class 9 science chapter, that is why do we fall ill. So, we have already learnt in this chapter what is health, what is being healthy called, what is being healthy and being disease free means. Then we have also seen the different diseases and their causes. Then we have learned the types of diseases, that is acute and chronic disease, then infectious and non-infectious diseases, and infectious and non-infectious causes. So in today's class we will learn about the infectious disease, and in this we will learn the infectious agents and the means of spread of these diseases. So infectious agents. Do you know what these infectious agents or the disease causing microorganisms are called? They are called as pathogens. So the disease causes microorganisms are called pathogens. This we have already learnt in the lower classes. So in lower classes we have also seen that all this diversity around us, all these organisms, different kind of organisms can be classified into certain groups, and this classification is based on the common characteristics between different organisms. So when two organisms or a few organisms have similar characteristics or similar features, they are placed in a particular group. Then the organisms that can cause diseases are found in a wide range of such categories. Like some of these organisms are viruses, some are bacteria, some are fungi, and some are called single-celled animals, which are the protozoans. So we have seen here diseases can be caused by viruses, bacteria, fungi, or the protozoans. Now some of the diseases are also caused by multicellular organisms. Now all these are single celled organisms. Diseases can also be caused by multicellular organisms, meaning having more than two cells, and such as worms of different kinds. So they can be also caused by multicellular organisms such as worms, different kinds of worms. Now here are some of the pictures of different infectious agents. Let us see. Now this is a picture of a SARS virus which is coming out of the surface of infected cell. So here you can see the arrows are pointing to the virus. So all these are the virus cells. Then here is a picture of a protozoan organism which causes the disease called Kala Azar. Then this is a picture of the Staphylococci bacteria. This is a bacteria which can cause acne in us. Here is a picture of another protozoan organisms which causes sleeping sickness. So this protozoan organism can cause sleeping sickness. And here at the last is a picture of an adult roundworm. This is found in the intestine, the small intestine, and here a scale is given so that we can get an idea how big it is. So here it is 3 centimeter, 3.5 centimeter big. Now let us see. The common examples of disease caused by virus are common cold, influenza, dengue fever, and AIDS. So we'll write it down over here. common disease caused by, first we have virus. So common diseases caused by virus are common cold, influenza, common cold, influenza, then dengue fever and AIDS. So these are the common diseases which are caused by viruses, that is common cold, influenza, dengue fever and AIDS. Then let us see diseases like typhoid fever, cholera, tuberculosis and anthrax are caused by bacteria. So the next organism that we have is bacteria. So common diseases caused by bacteria are typhoid fever, cholera, then we have tuberculosis and anthrax. So like this you should prepare a chart kind of, so that you can understand or remember the diseases better. Then the third type is many skin infections are caused by different kinds of fungi. So the fungi can cause skin infection. So third one we have is a fungi, and it can cause skin infections. Then protozoan microbes cause many familiar diseases such as malaria and kala azar. So these malaria and kala azar are caused by protozoans. Protozoans can cause malaria and kala azar. Then all of us have come across intestinal worms, as we have already seen that many multicellular organisms such as worms can also cause diseases. So these worms are mostly present in the intestines, and they can cause diseases like elephantitis, which is worm infections, and elephantitis, which can be caused by different species of worms. So caused by worms are the worm infections and elephantitis. So because of these worm infections, we have to take the deworming pills regularly at certain regular intervals. Now, why is it important that we think of these categories of infections agent? So as I have already said, when certain organisms have similar characteristics, they are classified into a same category. So why is it important that we think of these categories of these infectious agents? Because these categories are important factors in deciding what kind of treatment to use. Because when some organisms have similar characteristics, a drug which can be used to treat one of the organisms could be used and it could be useful to prevent the other organisms too. So let us see. Members of each of these groups like virus, bacteria and so on have many biological characteristics in common. So they might have some of the characters in common. So for example, all viruses live inside host cells, whereas bacteria very rarely do. So all the viruses which are there, they mostly stay inside the bacterial cell, okay, or they take a host cell and they live inside the host cell, whereas bacterial cell very rarely do so. They mostly do not take a host cell. Then viruses, bacteria and fungi multiply very quickly. So this is one of the feature that they have in common. The viruses, bacteria and fungi, they can multiply very quickly. They can reproduce very quickly. Whereas the worms, they multiply very slowly. So the worms, all the worms which are present in the intestine, they multiply very slowly. So this could be one of the criteria to use the treatment, because when they multiply very quickly, they can be tackled with a similar kind of drug which may not work on the worms. So taxonomically, all bacteria are closely related to each other than virus, and all viruses are closely related to each other as compared to bacteria. Now this means that many important life processes are similar in the bacterial group but are not shared with the virus group. Correct? So when these all bacteria are closely related to one another, many processes are similar in them. As a result, the drug that blocks one of the life processes in one member of the group is likely to be effective against many other members of the group. Now this is an important statement. So what this says that a drug that blocks one of these life processes in one member of the group is likely to be effective against many other members of the group. Now what this means is, if there is a certain bacteria and these people have developed a drug. Now this drug can be used effectively against this bacteria and it can kill this bacteria. So now when different bacteria, when they have life processes similar to this one, this drug can be, it is likely to be effective against all these bacteria too, because these have similar processes, and if it can tackle one of the bacteria, it is likely that it can be used against the others too. It may not always work, but it is very likely that it can be effective. So but the same drug will not work against a microbe belonging to a different group. Now what this means is, now this same drug will not work against a virus, okay. Now this drug will not be working against virus, okay. It may work against some other type of bacteria, but it will not work a microbe belonging to a different group. So virus is a different group of microbes, so this drug will not work against the virus. So an example, for an example, let us take antibiotics, okay. Let us take antibiotics. Now antibiotics block biochemical pathways important for bacteria. Now what these antibiotics do? These antibiotics block a biochemical pathway important for bacteria. So they will block a pathway, okay, the process which is very important for bacteria. Now many bacteria make a cell wall to protect themselves. So suppose this is a bacterial cell, many of the bacteria will develop a cell wall. So this will be the cell wall which they will develop in order to protect themselves. Now what these antibiotics will do? The antibiotic penicillin blocks the bacterial processes that build a cell wall. Okay, so suppose this is a bacteria and it builds a cell wall to protect itself. Now what this antibiotic will do? This antibiotic will block the bacterial process that builds the cell wall. So this antibiotic will block the process that will build the cell wall. So if this process is blocked, what will happen? The bacteria will not be able to build the cell wall. So no cell wall will be formed, and that is why the bacteria could be easily killed. So if no cell wall, if the pathway or the process is blocked which makes the cell wall, the bacteria will not be able to build a cell wall around it to protect itself, and that is why it could be easily killed. So as a result, the growing bacteria becomes unable to make cell wall. So the growing bacteria will become unable to make cell wall, and it will die easily. Now humans do not make a cell wall, so human cells or animal cells do not have a cell wall, so this penicillin cannot have any such effect on us. So it will not affect us because we do not make any cell wall. Now this penicillin will have effect on any bacteria that uses such processes for making a cell wall. Now this is one kind of bacteria. Okay, suppose A. Now suppose a bacteria B and C. Now these are other two types of bacteria which also use similar processes to make a cell wall. Now these antibiotics could also be useful in blocking the processes of these organisms too. So similarly, many antibiotics works against many species of bacteria rather than simply working against one. So it could work against many different species of bacteria too, rather than only working on this one type of bacteria. Now but viruses do not use these pathways at all. Now since viruses do not use this pathway of making a cell wall around it, so that is the reason. So these antibiotics will not work against the viruses. So that is the reason why antibiotics do not work against viral infections, as they do not have the processes to make the cell wall itself. Now if we have a common cold, taking antibiotics does not reduce the severity of it. Now if we have common cold, so this is caused by virus, right? So taking antibiotics will not help. Taking antibiotics will not help against treating the severity or reducing the severity or the duration of this disease. However, if we get bacterial infections along with the viral cold, but if we had a bacterial infection along with this cold, and then if we took antibiotics, then the bacterial part of the infection can be treated with the antibiotic. So then the antibiotic will work against the bacterial part, only against the bacterial part and not the viral infection. Okay, the common cold will not be treated, but the because of these antibiotics the bacterial infection will be treated. So let us see the means of transport or the means of spread of this disease. So how do these infectious diseases spread? Now we have already seen this. Many of these microbial agents can move around in different mediums like air, water, etc. So when one person is affected or infected by this disease, it can be communicated to, or it can be transferred to other person in various ways. So in other words, they can be communicated to other person, and that is why they are called as communicable diseases. So these infectious diseases are also called as communicable diseases. Let us see. Such disease causing microorganisms can spread through air. We have already learned this about these airborne diseases or airborne the pathogens which can cause diseases in us. So they can be spread through air, and this occurs through the little droplets thrown out by an infected person who sneezes or coughs. When someone is standing close by, they can breathe in these droplets. So when an infected person sneezes or coughs, all these droplets will be thrown out in the air, okay, and when another person who is standing close to that infected person, if he breathes in these droplets, he can also get infected. So this is one way in which the person or the disease can be communicated. The microorganisms then get a chance to start a new infection in the healthy person. So example of such diseases which spread through air are the common cold, pneumonia and tuberculosis. So these are the diseases which can spread through air in this way. So common cold, pneumonia and tuberculosis. Then we have also almost all of us has experienced sitting near someone who is suffering from cold, and then since we are in close contact with that person, we catch it ourselves. So obviously when our spaces are more crowded, and if someone is infected, it is more likely that we will catch the disease. So the more if the surroundings are more crowded, then it is more likely to catch such airborne diseases. Then another way this disease can spread is through water. So now how this disease can be spread through water? This occurs if the excreta of someone so this occurs if the excreta of someone who is infected or who is suffering from a infectious gut disease such as cholera, if the excreta gets mixed with the drinking water which is used by people living nearby, okay. So if the excreta of an infected person, for example infected by cholera, gets mixed with the drinking water of the people who are living nearby, the cholera microbes will then enter the new host or the healthy person through the water they drink. So these will enter the new host through the water they drink, and it will cause the disease in the healthy person. Now such diseases are more likely to spread in the absence of safe supply of drinking water. So when there is no safe supply of drinking water, it is more likely to spread such kind of diseases. Then another way in which diseases can be transmitted from one person to another is through sexual act, okay. So the sexual act is one of the closest physical contact that two people can have with each other, okay. So not surprisingly, many diseases can be transmitted through this act. So example of diseases which can be transmitted through sexual act are syphilis or AIDS. Okay, these are the diseases which are transmitted through sexual contact from one partner to the other. However, these diseases cannot spread through casual physical contact. Now, casual physical contact means shake hand or hugs or during some sports like wrestling. Okay. So, casual physical contact. Now, these sexually transmitted diseases are not spread by casual physical contact, which includes handshakes, hugs, or sports like wrestling, or by any other ways in which we touch each other socially. Now, these diseases like syphilis or AIDS, these spread through sexual contact, but they cannot spread by casual contact. Then another way by which these sexually transmitted diseases can be spread is through blood to blood contact with the infected person. Now, if someone has a blood to blood contact, now if the blood of infected person is mixed with the blood of healthy person, now what this means is that if infected blood is given, or if it is given to the healthy person, then the healthy person may get this disease. Then it can also be transmitted from an infected mother to her baby during the pregnancy or through breastfeeding. Okay, so this is another way in which the sexually transmitted disease can be spread. So we live in an environment that is full of many creatures apart from us. So it is very likely that the creatures or the animals which are surrounding us, they can also give us some or the other diseases. Okay, so many diseases will be transmitted by the animals too, and these animals that carry the infectious agent from one sick person to another potential host or a healthy person are called as the vectors. So these animals which carry the infecting agents from a sick person to another potential host, these animals are thus the intermediates and are called the vectors of diseases. One of the common vector that we know is mosquitoes. Okay, so we already know that mosquitoes are the vector for malaria disease. So this is because the females require nutritious food in form of blood to lay mature eggs. So they feed on various warm-blooded animals including us, and when they do so, they can transmit the pathogens or the protozoans from one organism to other. Now this is how this disease can be spread. So first is through air, then by water, then another is through sexual contact or through blood to blood transfusion, from a mother to her baby during pregnancy or through breastfeeding, and then the last is through several organisms which are around us. Now let us see here in this we have infected person, and some of the diseases can be spread through direct contact, then some could be by air, through food or by water, then indirect contact from their things, their belongings, those can also infect the healthy person, then through mosquitoes or different vectors, and lastly through a rabid animal, that is a diseased animal which can also cause a disease in healthy person. So this is all for this lecture. We will continue this chapter, the preventive measures, principles of treatment and principles of prevention. We will see in the next class. So thank you for watching my video. Please like, share and subscribe to the Bodhi Academy.